Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of So Chatty with Stephen and Walter for August the 18th, 2023, episode number 111. And today we're going to talk about some new machines that Janome has come out with. Actually, they're not available until about October, so press releases say. But we're going to do some comparisons and just from what little we know, we're going to decide whether or not, if you're in the market for a new sewing machine, whether one of these machines might be the one that's right for you. But before we do all of that, let's take a look at what I have been up to. And what I have been up to is this. You've seen it in bits and pieces, but now it's all together, completely finished. And this is my Snowman table runner. It was a in the hoop project, which means that I did it in my embroidery machine, my Janome 550E. And you know, I love in the hoop projects, and I especially love in the hoop applique because it makes applique so much easier than doing applique by the traditional methods. But anyways, here's the final product. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, and this is going to be a gift, and that's all I'm going to say about that. What am I working on next? Well, we're in the Christmas mood, aren't we? Even though it's just August. But you got to start early if you want to get Christmas presents done. So I'm starting on a pattern called Regal Trees. It's by Chelsea Stratton of The Quilting Life. I've done her patterns before, and I like her patterns. They're very easy to follow, and they're very clearly written. And this is another one, but I've decided to do it in Christmas fabrics and make it scrappy looking. So you can see here, there are actually two blocks. There are 15 Christmas blocks. That's the one block type. And then there's another one that is a star. I haven't started on those yet. And of course, you can see I only have 5 out of the 15 trees done. It does take a while. There's a lot of cutting, but it is jelly roll friendly. Actually, a jelly roll and a charm pack. And I did talk about this on this past week's Idiot Quilter episode and showed you the pattern and discuss some of those aspects of it then. And you know that last week, if you saw So Chatty, we delivered the Quilt of Valor. And I'm so impressed with what I learned about that program that I am eventually going to make a second Quilt of Valor. And I'm starting here, I'm experimenting with some blocks. These are maple leaf blocks. One is done, the one on the bottom. Those blocks I cut with my AccuQuilt die cutting set, 'cause I have one that does a maple leaf. And it's basically made up of nothing more than squares and half square triangles. But I have some of that Canadian O Canada fabric by Northcott that a lot of people use here in our country, Canada, for the Quilts of Valor. So I'm using some of those. But I found a free pattern on the Quilts of Valor Canada site for another quilt, and the maple leaf block with it is one that uses scrap fabrics, and that's the one above. And I really kind of like it. It's kind of fun to do, and it's a good way to get rid of scraps as well. And Quilts of Valor does not require you to do a Quilt of Valor quilt all in Canadian colors and use maple leaves. I happen to like maple leaves, so that's why I like making those blocks. But it can be any colors that you want. And in fact, there are some recipients of Quilts of Valor, and I may have mentioned this last week, that specifically say they don't want anything that has symbols of Canada or even Canadian colors in it because it's a trigger for them. So yeah, you can basically use whatever. So that's what I've been working on. Walter, what have you been working on?
I've been working on a shirt, another shirt for you. I didn't bring that down. I'll be working on it probably tomorrow at the sew day.
Yeah, so Walter has a sew day tomorrow over at the club, and I am not going because, to be honest, they bore me. Not the people, just it's, you know, you're the only quilter in the group and the rest are all working on garments, you know. So I'd rather be with my people. And so I am going to be with my people. You may have seen by now, if you're on the mailing list, I sent out this afternoon, short notice, I know, but that's the whole definition of pop-up sew days, isn't it? Short notice. I'm going to have a pop-up sew day tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and running till approximately 4 p.m. And so if you've got nothing better to do with yourself tomorrow, come join me for a while or for the day or whatever. Catch up on whatever you're working on. And all are welcome. And there will be a link for it in the show notes below. And also, as I said, I have just sent out the email to everybody on my mailing list. Um, and just a reminder that this coming Wednesday, as every Wednesday, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen at 9 a.m. It starts and runs until approximately 4 a.m. Every Wednesday. And that's Eastern Standard Time too. And I'm mentioning it's Eastern Standard Time because I have forgot to do that a couple of times. And someone wrote a comment this week wondering about Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen and wondered what time zone we were in. So yeah, it's the Eastern Time Zone. Okay, and another special event that's coming up, you know that Stephanie of Stitches always does on Saturday nights a sew along at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this week she's doing something a little different. She's asked several of us YouTube creators to join her to talk about our experience with retreats, both in person and virtual retreats. So if you've never been to a retreat before, or you have been to one, or you're thinking about going to one, or you've never attended anything but a virtual retreat, or vice versa, only attended in-person ones, you might want to tune into this because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information about retreats and about our experience at various types of retreats on that. So that's tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Stephanie's channel, and the link to Stephanie's channel is in the show notes below. Okay, so Walter's busily studying his cheat sheet and his notes about this whole thing that we're going to talk about now. But basically, Janome has come out with a couple of new machines. Now, these machines are sort of springboarding from one of their showcase machines, which I own one, the Continental M7, that came out about, how long ago did that come out? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
Probably. And to say that I love it. I love my Continental M7. It is a great machine. But they've come out with two models. One, which is a little lesser version of the M7, and they call it the Continental M6. And then they have one that's above the M7 called an M8. However, did they not come out with another M7? But they
there's an M7. The M7 is the original, right? And there's one called the M7 QCS, which stands for Quilter's Collector Series. And the difference of the way it looks is it's blue where it's silver on the M7. It's a dark blue color. And it has some logo on it that says M7 Quilter Select. It's a little bit more expensive on the list price than the M7. But as I'm looking at the description, it actually has pretty much the same specifications as the M7, but it looks like it comes with less accessories, even though it's more expensive.
But it's more expensive. Now, right now, finding the price on these, you really can't.
No, the M7 and the M7 QCS is listed on the Janome site with the price, but the M6 and the M8 is not actually listed on the Janome Canada site right now. But it is they're listed. Their specifications are listed, but their prices are not listed. The list prices are not listed.
No, and they're not listed on the American site either. The prices on them.
So
but the rumor has it that they are releasing these two models. They're not available yet in retail stores. They're releasing them sometime in October, which is very much what Janome does. They often have a new products in the fall and a new products in the spring. So this is not uncommon. But before we go on a little further with these models, let's just talk a little bit about the Continental M7, which is the one that I have, and just so you have an overview of the features. And then we'll talk about the new version of the M7 so you can get a good idea of what's different and whatnot. And after we've talked about all these different machines, we're going to share our insights into, like, I'm not in the market. Neither one of us are in the market for a new sewing machine. But if we were, would we invest in the M6, the M7, the M7, what do they call the second one?
QCS.
QCS, or the M8? So let's first of all just look at what I have already. And on your screen, you can see there's a picture of the Continental M7 Professional. And they list the key features. It says here it's 1,300 stitches per minute. How many stitches per minute is it on the upgraded model?
The QCS is pretty much the same as the M7. It's got 1,300 stitches per minute. It's got 400 built-in stitches, which they both have.
They both have that.
They both have the AccuSpark tutorial, the feed dogs. I think they're pretty much.
They've got the AccuFeed Flex system.
Yeah. This one doesn't say, the QCS doesn't say anything about the needle threader. This one says it has a superior needle threader, but it doesn't really say that on the QCS one. Which, no, Janome, I have found when I've looked at their specifications of machines, will often leave things out of the specifications from one machine to the next. So sometimes what you're reading on their specifications are not exactly accurate, because it's like some different people write the specifications. They don't cross-check between machines and stuff like that.
Okay, well, let's just look at the main features someone would be looking at in these machines. First of all, the number of stitches per minute, 1,300 on both, right?
Right.
And the AccuFeed system, if you don't know what an AccuFeed system is, it's basically a type of walking foot in the machine that you snap onto it. And so you've got feed dogs in the table of the machine, and you've got feed dogs now in this special foot. So, you know, when you're doing quilting where you've got things that are in layers, it pulls both the top layer of fabric and the bottom layer of fabric through evenly. There are many of the higher end machines have something like this. Bernina has this kind of thing to it as well. So they both have that. They both have 400 built-in stitches. Now, what about the size? What's the maximum stitch width? 9 millimeters?
Yes, it is. It's 9 millimeters.
Okay, so they're both have that as well. Now, the other feature that most people, okay, automatic threader. Now, you said they didn't state that they have one of that, but I'm sure they probably do.
Yeah, they must have it, but it's not listed on the specifications. So on the M7, it says superior needle threader, but on this one, I can't seem to find it on their specifications.
Well, I'm sure it will have one on it, because all of their machines, pretty much, except maybe, and I don't even know if the rock bottom ones don't have some form of needle threader on them. I mean, that's pretty much a standard feature on most sewing machines now. Now, but one thing is, does it tell you the throat space on this one?
I did not download that part of it that said the throat space. It doesn't specify the throat space.
Okay, well, the throat space on the M7 is 13.5 inches. And when I say throat space, I mean this area between the needle and the side of the machine, the right-hand side of the machine. That area in there is what is the 13.5 inches. Now, I'm just looking down here a little further to see if they put that, because they have a comparison chart, but they don't compare the M7 to anything but lesser ones. Weight is 36.8. Here we go. Workspace, 13.5 inches by 5.5 inches high. Now, sometimes they get a little confusing in their descriptions, because they will slip in before you see that. Like I noticed on the M18, they're saying they have...
Can you do a drop down on that to change the machine to the QCS one?
I don't know if I can. Was it on in
there?
Go
down. Go up. Go up.
Go up.
No, down.
Well, you're up or down?
Well, you're my up and you're down. Okay, no, go back. Where the model comparison near the top.
Model comparison was here.
Model comparison's at the bottom there. Okay, now slide that up. Right, it says change machine.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now see if it has the. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It does not. It. It does not.
Go to sewing.
No, it does not.
Okay, well, okay.
Of course, unless it's different in each one, because the way Janome does these. Oh wait, there's 20.
There's 23 machines, so the sewing. Okay, next. Okay, bring your screen up higher. Next.
These are all the DCs. Skylines.
Probably should slide your screen up.
Yeah, I'm doing that. HD, Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty. Okay, we're getting into memory crap. Arctic.
There it is.
There's what? That's the M6.
Quilter Select series. There.
Oh, okay. Where am I? Right here.
In the middle, yeah.
All right. So comparison, they both have, I'm just looking down, superior feed system plus, that's the feed system. Reminder, all this is the same. See what the machine size, that's machine size.
The work size is the same.
Work size is the same. So actually, there does not seem to be, with the exception of the name.
Yeah. Well, like I said, on the specifications that I saw on here, the specifications are pretty much the same for both machines, except here they've got on the M7 the Stitch Composer. Oh no, it has Stitch Composer software. No, it looks pretty much the same.
Well, the thing is, if you take a look here, won't let me go to that, but look at the picture. It's got a fancy little graphic on the front of it, and it's a different color.
Yeah.
It's more of a black or a blue.
It's a dark blue.
Blue on
and it has a little fancy thing that calls it Quilter Select. Now, based on the specifications here, the M7 comes with more accessories than the QCS. But so, I don't really know if that's true or not.
And it's $500 more.
Yeah.
So really what I think they're doing, and a lot of sewing machine manufacturers do this, they come out with special edition machines that have a different color and a graphic on them. For example, Bernina came out with the K Facet machine, which had a really lovely front plate on it of Kate Facet's fabric and everything. Looked really cool. And it was bundled with some K Facet things along with it, like some special embroidery, because that particular machine also did embroidery. This one doesn't. But that was Bernina. But oftentimes I've noticed these manufactured sewing machines aesthetically are trying to appeal to people, and they charge more for the machine.
Now, did your M7 come with the extension table, or did you have to buy that extra?
Nope, that came with it.
Okay.
And if you look,
because on here it does say it comes with the extension table, but on the M7 it does.
Yeah, it does. It's right here. See, look up here. Standard accessories.
Oh, okay.
Extra wide extension table.
Okay, I see that now.
Yeah. So unless the differences are very, very, we're not seeing them. They're not obvious, except for the fact that one has a fancier looking, cover on the machine with it. So basically the same machine. They're just toting it as, or toting, what's the word I want? They're just promoting it as being something more special. Okay, so that's the M7. We're going to use the M7 as our standard here. So let's take a look at the one that's below that. And that would be the M6, which is new. Now it says on here that it has a 13.71 seamless flat bed. Okay, this is kind of confusing because 13.7 seamless flatbed. All right. Well, are they talking about this area here between where the needle center of the needle to the right side? That's the workspace. Now here's something too I've noticed that they've been sticking in 17.8 inches, 17.81 inches all metal seamless flatbed. When you read that, that makes you think that, oh, wait,
What?
I have a bigger throat
Hey,
space.
hang on. There's a thing. If you look here,
Yes, I was getting to it. You jumped ahead
okay,
of
all
me.
right.
Yes. But that's what you'd see first because there it is in specifications. This is really your workspace, 13.7, which means you're getting zero point 0.2 of an inch more space than on the M7. This is the M6.
Mm-hmm.
It's below the M7. But zero point 0.2, is that going to make a big difference? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But up here, you know, this 17.81, they're measuring this from here to here. Not from the needle, but that whole base right over to this part, the whatever you want to call it, the arm or whatever, with that. So you look at that quickly, and I think it's done on purpose, putting it in that order. Because you know what happens? People assume when you read here in the first column, you're reading the most important features first and it's going down to the lesser ones. But it's not. So you're thinking, whoa, 17.8 inches? Wow, I can get a lot of quilt under that. Nope. It's only 0.2 of an inch bigger in the work area than the M7. So what else is... So I'm assuming, though, that this one, because it's an M6, it's a lesser number, that there's going to be lesser features. But are there?
Is that there's 400 built-in stitches, which the M7 has 400
Yep.
built-in stitches.
Maximum sewing speed, 1,300 stitches per minute. That's same as the M7.
Yeah. Superior Needle Threader 2, which I'm not sure what that is.
No, do these things open? No, they don't.
No, they don't. Sewing applications on screen.
So let's change the machine.
You can't change it to the M6 on this one because it's not it's a new machine, but it's not available for sale yet.
But I'm not changing it to M6 because this is the M6.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
changing it
Oh,
to
yeah.
the M7.
Oh yeah, okay, I see. Yeah.
You know, I do know it. I'm just not just here for
All right.
candy. All right. I do have a brain behind this pretty little head. Although some people would question that. Boy, they don't make it easy to find things on here.
No.
Let's see, here it is, Continental M7. Okay. Both have a top loading full rotary hook bobbin. Automatic tension, 9 millimeters, AccuFeed. Now, they say on the 6 it's called AccuFeed. On the M7 it's called AccuFeed Flex.
Yeah.
Well, what the heck's the difference?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I don't know what the difference is in AccuFeed Flex. Both have reserve button, blah, blah, blah. Dual voltage on the 6, yes, but not on the M7. Okay, are they trying to market this one towards the European market?
It's possible now that they've come out with ones that they don't have to convert for European or North American markets.
Yeah. Number of buttonholes, 12. On the M7, it's 12 sensor buttonholes, 1 automatic. I think they're playing with semantics.
Well, they
here.
do say on, if you look at your buttonhole thing, it says at the top where you have your thing, it says,
Where?
I thought I read somewhere that it had buttonholes.
Well, it does have buttonholes.
No, I know 12 sensor buttonholes, it says that.
Okay, 12 sensor bobbin holes. Yeah, that's what it says here.
Oh,
it says
okay,
12.
Yeah. And the other
but here, this one says 12 sensor This is the M7 in this one.
Yeah.
This is the
But
M6.
it says in their description 12 sensor buttonholes.
So what's this is confusing.
Yeah.
What do you really have? I suspect they're playing with semantics here, or like you said earlier, the left hand is not proofreading the right hand.
No.
Like this, superior needle threader 2, superior needle threader. Well, what's the difference between a superior needle threader 2 and a superior
And
needle threader?
like I said, on the M7 QCS, they don't even talk about the needle threader on it.
And then look at here's another thing. Needle up, down. Yes. Memorized. I guess maybe that means this is a manual. Like once you turn off the machine, like you can program the M7 so you have needle up or needle down, and when you turn off the machine, turn it back on, it's where whatever you saved it as. Maybe you can't save it.
Well, that seems odd because I can save it on my
yeah. Okay, so you see, you can't go by their little chart.
You know, free arm.
No, neither one has a free arm, and needle position. Yeah. Locking stitch button, all the rest of these things are kind of standard.
Number of stitch combination, I guess. See, you can save stitches.
Yes, you can save.
Maybe on the M6 you can't.
Maybe not. This one has last stitch recall capability. No, but mine does. The M7 does. Okay, because when I turn it on, it'll say, do you want to resume last stitch? So if you'd set your machine up to do, say, a scant 1/4 inch, and then you turned off your machine, it'll come back up when you and want to know if you want to resume that with it. So this would suggest to me, and I could be absolutely wrong, I'm just speculating on this, that it does not have the ability to save things into its memory.
It sounds like the memory, it doesn't retain its memory after you turn the machine off.
Yeah. So that would be different.
That would be like my 6700. It doesn't do that either.
No, it weighs more. It weighs 2 pounds more.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Workspace, both the same, have the same workspace. And yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. So, programmable jump thread trimming. No on either one. Adjustable speed while embroidering. No. Well, they don't embroider.
No.
So, unless they're counting just in stitches that look like embroidery, but
well, yeah, I guess
so
if you're trying to compare a machine that does embroidery.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So basically, so what's the big diff here? We don't know.
Can you scroll up for a second? Just no, the other way. Down. When I say up, I meant you move the screen up.
Fine. Where do you want me to go?
Just keep going up a bit. I saw something pass by. I just wanted to take a look. Go on, keep going. I don't. Geez. There. Okay, hang on. Machine weight. Okay, I thought it said 34 pounds. It's 38.4.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So.
But here, hang on. Workspace says 13.5 by 5.5. Yet in the specifications, it says 13.7.
Yeah. Something's not right here. Things don't match up. This is why you should never buy a sewing machine, in my opinion, online. You need to go and actually physically sit down in front of one of these machines and have someone explain to you all the features that are on it. And ideally, when you sit down at one of these machines, you're able to be near another one, like, you know, you go in and look at an M7 or an M6.
You're comparing an actual M6 to an M7 and making sure that you're getting the right machine that you want for the right price.
Yeah. Now, we don't know what they're selling this one for. My assumption, but this may not be right, that it should be less than what they're selling the M7 for, because this is lesser, but...
Yeah, well, one obvious difference, if you look at the machine, is you don't have the stitch length and stitch width control knobs on it.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that. That's true, because if you look here at the Continental M7 right here, you see these two little buttons right up in here. You can do it on your screen as well, but those ones, you know, you can do it just
they're little dials that you can change your stitch length and stitch width.
Yeah, so you don't
So
have
now
that.
you're forced to have to do it on the screen.
And I'm just looking at these buttons. It's hard to see in a picture like this, but let's go up to the bigger picture.
Yeah, those are pretty
These are all the same.
Yeah.
These are all the
But
same.
then on the M7 or the M7 Plus, and probably I think the M8 as well, has the dials for the stitch length and stitch width.
Now it has a pretty lavender color, if that's indeed the color it comes with.
It does obviously have a thread stand for it as well.
Yeah, right up here at the top, but so does the M7. So if I had to choose between these two machines, just basing it off of the way they've written their specs, I would, well, I don't, as a quilter, I don't make garments, so buttonholing is not a big thing to me. And they said something, it had 12 buttonholes, but the other one has 12 sensor buttonholes, which I don't know what that means.
Does this come with a AccuFeed?
I thought they listed that. That's 12.
I don't see the AccuFeed.
It doesn't. Okay, what was in the comparison?
Well, once it's AccuFeed and
no, it says AccuFeed Flex
on yours, yeah.
On that, so it has AccuFeed, but I don't know if it's exactly the same AccuFeed as what I have on the M7. I don't know. I don't know what AccuFeed Flex means.
It doesn't list AccuFeed in the specifications on the M6.
Interesting. But again, who knows? Whoever writes this stuff up, it doesn't seem to be consistent. So I would say that if the other machine, going from the M7 to the M7Q, whatever it is.
No, we're going from the M6.
No, would you let me finish the sentence? What's the other model of the M7 called again? Q what?
QCS, Quilter Select model.
QCS. So it's $500 difference between the M7 and the M7 QCS, whereas the M7 QCS is $500 more than the M7. Then I would think that the M6, which would be slightly lesser model, would be $500 cheaper than the M7. But we don't know.
I don't know. And if you're interested in, what do you call it, walking foot, I would make sure that you're getting the AccuFeed system on the M6, because
yes,
the AccuFeed system is really worthwhile for walking foot.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the difference is between AccuFeed and AccuFeed Flex.
I don't know if we can find that here, but hold that thought. We'll come back to it. But let's go to the M8. That's the M7. The M8. Okay. This is the M8 right here. Now, the M8 has the buttons. This should be a superior machine to the M7.
Right.
Looking at it physically, it looks exactly like the M7. I do not see any difference amongst the buttons or the way the screen looks. Might have a little different color to it. So let's see. Feature sheet. This is okay. One thing it does have, the others don't, is an ASR, accurate stitch regulator, is included. They also has an AccuFeed Flex Plus layered fabric feeding system. That sounds just like a lot of extra words, because layered fabric feeding system, well, that's the whole point behind an AccuFeed. It's 4 layers. But I think the big selling point on the 8 is the accurate stitch regulator. So it's got a stitch regulator. All right. So if you're trying to do quilting on a domestic machine and you want your stitches all to be the same length, then that's the bonus. Now, if you look here, they have a picture of it in the diagram, and what it looks like is it's another attachment. You have to attach it when you want to use it to the machine. So it's not something that is automatically there at a push of a button. You have to actually put it on. The rest of this,
it does have has something called AccuSpark 2, which provides machine learning and support, which is similar, I think, what the M7 has for machine learning.
It has memorized needle up and down. Now, what about the throat size on this one? It has 450 built-in stitches, so it's got 50 more.
Yeah.
9 millimeters wide, though. All three of them are 9 millimeter wide. Now, here you go down here, 17.8, 1 inches all metal seamless flatbed. Well, so does the M6, and actually so does the M7. That's just the
And if you look down at the corner there,
13.7.
Yeah.
To the right of the needle. So it's got 0.2 of an inch more, just like the M7 QCS has, whereas the M7 is 13.5. So
okay, does the M7 you have a USB port?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Well, they all do, because that's how you do your upgrades. If they upgrade the software in them, you have to have that.
It has a superior needle threader too, as well. So
yeah. So whatever the set, we'll see. There's two things we want to look for on here in a minute: AccuFeed Flex and superior needle threader 2. Okay, so there's specifications, but let's go back to this page where we were doing the comparison and let's set this up so we see them side by side. So this is the M6, M7. Let's change this one then.
You're not going to be able to find the M8 because of its.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you search. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. M8, right there in the middle.
Oh, okay. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, so now we have all three of them. We have the M7, the M6 over here, the M8 here. Ignore this one over on the far side. All right.
Okay, so interesting. It has AccuFeed on it as well, but it doesn't say AccuFeed Flex, though in the specifications it says that.
All right. So let's see. Can we do a little search on the, let's get out of that. Can we do a search on the Janome feed and see if we can find it? So it's called the AccuFeed Flex.
No, it doesn't really say.
It doesn't really explain. Oh wait, this is my featured videos, AccuFeed Flex system. So they have a little video.
AccuFeed Flex system. How to attach the new AccuFeed Flex system and introducing the 4 new feet. The AccuFeed Flex feeding system evenly feeds fabric from both the top and bottom and uses 2 types of foot holders, the dual attachment and the single attachment. Each of these works with several different feet.
Okay, that's exactly what I have on my M7.
And that's what I have on my...
On your 6700.
6700P too.
And now it may not come with all of these feet attachments, but mine came with, there's 2 sizes of these. This one has this narrow one that came with my machine.
And it comes with a zipper foot, or you can get it with a zipper foot.
I got, I bought, now there's one they're not showing here though that I bought. This is the 1/4 inch edge guide. This is the open toe, but there's another one you can get.
It's the blind hem foot,
which I use as a stitch in the ditch. We call it stitch in the ditch foot too. So, but this is exactly what we have. But do they have? They don't seem to have something called an AccuFeed Flex
or AccuFeed,
or just AccuFeed. I mean, if I go in and just do AccuFeed, I did AccuFeed Flex. I'll bet you the same thing's going to come up.
Yeah, because I think the one on my 6700P just calls it AccuFeed, doesn't call it AccuFeed Flex.
And here they don't even have it.
No, so they seem to use that interchangeably.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything different about that. No. Now the other thing was what they call their needle threader. Their the superior
needle threader 2. No, that's not spelled right.
Oops, superior. Well, I'm bent over here, awkward position.
Space.
Oops. It's very awkward when I'm bent way over. Superior needle threader 2, right?
Yeah.
Superior needle threader.
but it doesn't. There's no one that says 2.
Okay, so let's go to this and see. Okay, that's exactly what is on my M7.
No, actually, you have one that goes down the side, right?
Oh yeah, the button's up on the side of the machine.
Yeah, I think that's the superior needle threader
2. Okay, that's probably it. Okay, big deal.
All the machines come with that now.
Yeah. So that is not a selling point. Okay, let's go back to where I had the comparison chart. All right. So, where did we leave off? Touchscreen, all the stuff's the same. Dual voltage. The only one that has dual voltage seems to be the 6.
Yeah.
The 7 and 8 do not. Well, in North America, who cares?
Yeah.
Um,
Only if you're traveling with your machine
and you're taking it to
would
Europe.
that be important.
Yeah. Semi-hard cover. Number of stitches. There's 50 more stitches on the M8. Now, this is interesting. Number of buttonholes. 12 on the 6. 12 on the M8. 12 sensor buttonholes. 1 automatic.
On the 7.
On the 7.
So, but they say sensor buttonholes on these descriptions as well.
So
yeah, so it doesn't.
I don't
think
think
it says
that's
here on the M8 12 sensor buttonholes.
So I think it makes buttonholes.
Yeah.
And sensor, well, there's a little gadget that you attach to the machine on the M7. You put your button in one end of it, and it will then, when you set it up to do the buttonhole, it makes the correct buttonhole for the correct button size because you've got the button on it. And I think that's what they call the sensor.
Yeah.
They make it sound like it's a computerized thing. It's not. It's
unless there's a way for you to save that somehow.
Maybe.
But
I don't know.
I mean, I've never done a buttonhole on your machine, but on mine I have to use the gadget each time.
Yeah, well, you do on mine too, I think. I don't think you can save it.
Yeah.
Now, this here, needle up or down, yes, on the 6. Memorized on the 7, but nothing shown for that.
For the
8.
I
I would think it's memorized on
the 8.
the 8
on the
as
M8, on the description, it says memorized needle up and down.
See, this chart does not...
This chart is not very accurate.
They don't have free arms. They have a drop feed, needle position, locking stitch, but yes, twin needle guard, number of stitch combinations, up to 100 on the M7. Doesn't say anything for either the 6 or the 8. Last stitch recall, no on the 6, yes on the 7, but no on the M8.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense either.
No.
Because it's supposed to be a better machine.
Yeah.
A more sophisticated machine, put it that way. Knee lift, not on the 6, but yes on both of the other ones. Machine size. Weight. It weighs, the M8 and the M6 weigh exactly the same. The M7 is lighter. Go figure. Workspace. Oh,
again,
wow.
The workspace says 13.5 by 5.5 on both the M8 and on the on all three actually. Yeah. But in their specifications it says 13.7.
Yeah.
At the right of the needle.
Yeah.
Which one is correct?
The rest of these look like just standard features, and then we get into the embroidery side. So
again, we're proving that what they've got listed is not necessarily accurate.
So if the M8 now here's the thing. How much more would the M8 be? Well, you don't know. I'm assuming the M8, speculation here, and I have nothing more to base it on than just that, speculation. If the M7 QCS is about $500 more than the M7, I suspect that the Continental M8 is $1,000 more than...
that would be an accurate guess on my part.
Because you've got and they didn't even list this though. They didn't list that the one thing they have on the M8 that none of the machines have is the stitch regulator. They don't even have a category for that.
Yeah.
So this chart is...
it sounds to me like they've got too many machines that are a similar model, because there's not much difference between the M7 and the M7 QCS, except I did find that according to their specifications, the QCS has less accessories to it than the M7, but costs more. The only thing is it looks a little different.
Yeah.
The M6 is obviously a lesser machine because they don't have, well, I don't know if it's a lesser machine. It depends on what the difference is between the AccuFeed system and on it compared to the M7.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's say I wanted to upgrade my machine from the M7 to the M8. So I'm looking here at what they're saying about it. Say you take your sewing passion seriously, you deserve a machine that delivers professional results. The Continental M8 Professional is everything you need for high definition quilting and high definition sewing. Okay. Anybody want to venture a guess what high definition quilting is and high definition sewing? High definition on a television means one thing. This is a terminology that doesn't apply to sewing machines. Quilting is quilting. How do you have high definition? That doesn't make any sense. The ASR, Accurate Stitch Regulator, ensures that every quilting stitch you make is perfect. So that's one feature that if you do a lot of quilting on a domestic machine, you might want that. We'll come back to that thought in a second. While the professional grade HP needle plate and HP2 AccuFeed options allow you to piece with precise quarter-inch seams. That is on my M7. Okay, that is all there. The HP needle plate is a special plate. It comes with the M7. That's the one I use for piecing all the time. And I do like it. But is it worth me paying more money for this machine to have that over the M7? No, not really. Use the free AccuSpark 2 app with the Continental M8 Professional. See more information about each stitch, review recommended settings, and see what options are available. That's on with the M7. It's an app. You can download it for free from Janome. You put it on your phone. Do I ever use it? Nope. Never touch it because it's information I don't need. But they make it sound very sophisticated. Yeah. Okay. So the only thing about the M8 that's different from the M7, in my opinion, is the ASR, the Accurate Stitch Regulator. Okay. What they are trying to do, in my opinion, is they're trying to make quilters who do not have a long arm or a grace frame or anything like that. They want to make them think that they can take a quilt and they can now use this machine to quilt it. Okay. Yes, you can quilt anything on any domestic machine, but how easy is it? Well, it's not, because your throat space is the one deterring factor more than anything else. If you're going to take a queen size quilt and you roll it and you're shoving all that bulk underneath that little hole right here, well, it's not going to be easy. I've done it. I have done it. What were my results like? Well, yeah. If you are someone who wants to do a lot of free motion quilting and you're good at it, you're going to struggle doing your feathers or anything else like that with any domestic machine simply because of size. Not only that, weight of your quilt. You may have a large extended table with this, but it's still not going to be enough for a quilt. You're going to have to build yourself a nest. That's what I used to do. I used to build folding tables all around my sewing machine, put everything together to make it almost look like it was a built-in machine, like it in a table. And that is the only way you're going to handle the bulk of a quilt. Yes, I know you can buy devices, okay? You can buy things that, hang from the ceiling, or little bungee cord things with big springs around and that. There's lots of them out there. But they're a pain in the butt. They do not replace using a machine that is meant to do quilting, which is a long arm. I'm sorry to tell you this, okay? Now, if you have a table runner or a baby quilt or placemats, yes, you can probably have a lot of success. But anything bigger than a baby quilt or a throw, anything that's a full size, a queen, whatever, you're going to struggle with it.
I mean, there are people that do it, but I think most average people would struggle with it.
Yeah. Yes, long arms are expensive. Am I saying you need to go out and buy a long arm? No. But you are then limited as well as to what you're going to quilt. Are you going to do like lovely edge to edge feathers?
Well, actually, these
Probably not.
machines are not particularly cheap either.
No, not really. I mean, we're talking this one's. They say the retail price is $8,000 for the M7.
Right. And
So I did not.
8,500 for it. And usually those retail prices aren't.
Your dealer usually
Your
has them
usually
better.
dealer can get it for a better price,
A
or
much
you
better
might be able to get a introductory price on the new models. When
Yeah,
they
they
come
usually come out with a little introductory price on them as well. But what I'm saying is this. Janome is famous for toting that their upper line of machines are going to make your quilting so much easier. I'm talking quilting, not piecing. They tell you that with their embroidery machines. They tell you that with their combination embroidery sewing machines like the M17. And in my experience, because I used to have a 15,000, which was the top of the line embroidery sewing machine, okay, combination machine, and how I went through with that, I truly do not believe it can be done easily. If you have lots of patience and lots of upper body strength, then you might be able to. But that's what they're making people think. It's an incentive to buy the machine. All right. Now, I'm not saying that something like the ASR is a bad feature. Well, I think it's probably a good feature, but you've got to be realistic.
I think if somebody has already done free motion quilting a lot on a domestic machine, they probably wouldn't use the ASR.
Probably not,
because they're used to going at a certain speed. But somebody new might take advantage of the ASR because it's a little bit easier. You don't have to worry so much about getting even spacing on your stitches.
But I'm not saying that this is a bad machine or even a bad choice. It's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on your budget, what you already have that you're thinking of upgrading to, what you're going to use your machine principally for. They're all the basic questions you should ask yourself before you buy any sewing machine whatsoever. Don't be sucked in by all the buzzers and bells. For example, 450 decorative stitches. Sounds good. Guess what? Mine has 400 decorative stitches. How many have I used? None. Now, some people use one or two, maybe, let's say you might use 10 of them on a regular basis for something that you do. You're making bags, you want to make a nice...
Yeah, that's the only time I've used decorative stitches is when I wanted to put a nice edge on a bag or something like that. But other than that, I don't usually use them that much.
I mean, it's overkill, but I mean, it comes with it, right? You're not really paying for 50 more decorative stitches with it. That's just something.
Yeah, they'll probably have an alphabet set or something. They always seem to come up with decorative stitches that are not, necessarily regular decorative stitches. And then they say, oh, you got, 50 more decorative stitches.
Speaking of the alphabet system that they come with, I'm not absolutely sure about this, but I think they count each letter as a decorative stitch.
Right. So
26 letters in the alphabet, and if you've got 3 alphabet sets.
Yeah, it could be they've added 2 alphabet sets, and basically there's your extra 50 stitches.
There's your extra 50 stitches in there. Could be up. Don't quote me on that. I have to go and check it out on my machine.
I'd have to look at what they have for decorative stitches to compare. But that's not unusual for them to do.
So bottom line is this. You're looking to upgrade a machine you have already. You have X amount of dollars to spend. Don't buy it online. Go to what we've just shown you. Go to the Janome.ca or the Janome.com websites. Read all the specifications. You can download the brochure that has them all in there. Study it. Read it for each machine that you're thinking of buying. Then go to your dealer. Go to your Janome dealer, where you can sit down and play with the machine and compare it with some of the other machines too.
Right. And that doesn't just go for the M7s, and that goes for any sewing machine.
Any sewing machine you buy. with it, because you see already the problems that are here online with their specs. We're not getting the correct information. It's very confusing. And you need to go to somebody that's an authorized Janome dealer as well. Somebody, not somebody who sells 5 different models of makes of machines. Janome, Brother, Husqvarna, whatever, all that kind of stuff. You need somebody who sells maybe 1 or 2, and one of those is Janome, and they are a certified authorized dealer for Janome.
Well, Janome or Elna, because Janome makes Elna, so.
But the reason I say that is because they've been trained. They know. They play with the machines. So, if you're in our area, check out Ultimate Sewing. Because Ultimate Sewing in Oshawa, because Shirley is a trained certified. Not only is she trained in selling them and what the features are, she's also trained in the technology behind them. She can service them too. She's taken the courses on that. So, and the one thing about Shirley too is she will sit down and do a needs analysis with you, which means she's going to ask you some questions. What do you want to do with the machine? What is your budget? And she will plunk you down in front of several different machines and talk about each one of them as well. She knows them. That's the kind of dealer you want to deal with. You don't want to deal with one that's a used car salesman, because they'll tell you everything, and probably they know very little about the machines. And so again, I go back to buying a machine online. Unless you're in a very remote area and you have to fly in to a Janome dealer.
And it's not like you're going to save any money by buying online. No. I mean, even if you saved $100 supposedly by your estimation, I mean, you could probably go into a store and say, look, I can buy a machine for $100 or $200 less than what I can buy here. Can you match the price?
Yeah, and oftentimes they will. They will. So, yeah. So anyways, that was our little discussion of these new machines that are coming out later in the fall and everything. I'm not interested in buying either one of those machines. I like my M7. I'm very happy with my M7. So, and there's not enough here that makes me want to run out and buy an M8. I wouldn't buy an M6.
I mean, I'm happy with the 6700P. It does what I need it to do.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have a few more decorative stitches if I'm doing a bag or something like that. But I mean, it depends on what kind of decorative stitches it is. So
yeah,
and it's not worth it for me to buy a machine like that. I like the M7, like the one Steve has, but it's also, do I need 2 machines? I don't need 2 machines. And the other thing is the M7's too hard for me to lug around with us. Because it's a big machine.
Yeah, and that's why I have a Skyline S7, because it's a lighter machine and it's great for traveling. None of these machines that we showed you today, looking at how much they weigh, are really. You could take them to class with you, but you better have some people to lift it for you onto the table and back into your bag.
They're not a light machine.
They're not light. Well, you saw the 38 pounds.
Yeah.
36 to 38 pounds of machine.
I mean, mine is around 30 pounds, and I find that's pretty heavy too. So,
and I know a lot of the ladies out there do complain about the weight of their machines when they're going to travel, because they have and I mean, let's face it, we're older people that are into quilting usually, and so arthritis, all kinds of things like that. Yeah. So that's another consideration one needs to take about these machines. But they don't pretend that these are portable. Okay, there's nowhere on here that they're telling us, oh yeah, these are really light machines. Okay, they're good quality machines. They are. With it, depends on you. Okay, so I hope you may have gleaned some useful information out of what we talked about today, and maybe down the road we'll revisit these when they do actually come out, and maybe if we ever get a chance to see one in person or whatever, we can ask more questions of our local dealer, Shirley, at Ultimate Sewing. Tell her we sent you. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, so we'll come back to it another day. Okay, so Just some reminders. Pop-up sew day, as I already mentioned, tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Link is in the show notes below. Emails went out to those on the mailing list. Going to run until about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, because at 5, I'm on with Stephanie and some other YouTube creators. We're going to be talking about and sewing at the same time about retreats and things like that. So that's 5 p.m. on Stephanie's channel. So be sure to check it out. And the link to Stephanie's channel is in the show notes as well. So hope to see you all next week. Have a good week. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.
Bye for now.